Hey guys, Gold Year Plus back time more today, and I know the uploads have still been inconsistent, but just expect that. It's gonna make it way better when I upload. If you don't expect me to make a video every week, I think it's been 2 weeks, but I have to make a mock draft soon as well. So cause it's been a while, it's been a little bit since I made one. I think the last video I made was actually the Pokemon. My 2024 teams of my Pokemon teams of 2024. I think that was like 2 weeks ago, so it might have been like 3 weeks since I made the mock draft. But the NFL draft is coming up, so I don't want to miss out on that or miss out on making a mock draft one more time before that happens. But my focus right now is getting these Pokemon videos out because I do have even after this one, I still have another one I have to make. But if you know my other channel, Go to Junior, you know that I live stream mostly. Like most of my videos nowadays are live streams. I usually stream ECU Dynasty or Titans franchise. But if you look down in my videos, you'll see some Geometry Dash, some ECU Dynasty highlights, but what you also see is my Pokemon Violet Nuzlocke. Since the Switch doesn't have screen sharing, so you can't really record directly from the Switch unless you have a PC, I would record important moments on my phone and mesh them all into one video. There was 16 videos like in total. And then the 17th video was the death compilation. So, if you want to watch the full thing and not get spoiled for the results, you should definitely go subscribe to my other channel, Go Junior, and actually watch all 16 of those videos. But I'm going to be recapping my second and third attempts. The reason I'm not recording, the reason I'm not going over my first attempt is because, first of all, that was like back in early 2024. I finished this Nuzlocke in, I think, I'm not exactly sure, probably mid 2024. I'd say July, sometime in the summer, June, July. You can check on the videos. My first attempt was completed in February, I believe. So yeah, there's a big gap. I don't really remember it. I didn't record it at all, but what I do remember is that I got swept by Airy after losing a few Pokemon. I did talk about that team in my teams of 2024 because it wasn't a completed Nuzlocke. I had to go through the run normally because I lost to Airy. But a few months later, I began attempt 2. But first, we're going to go over the rules. Now, I'm not a hardcore Nuzlocker. I will be eventually. At least that's my goal. Eventually, I want to be a great Nuzlocker. But so far, I've completed 3 that I count for myself, alright? It's like how some college football teams don't accept all their rings. I don't accept all my runs because some of them I was like 8 and I'm like 90% sure I cheated. Okay, I wasn't 8, probably 10. But yeah, anyway. These are my rules. If a Pokemon dies, they're dead forever. That's normal. That's what every Nuzlocker has to, or it's not really a Nuzlocke. I never imposed a level limit, but I basically did since I never overleveled the boss I was facing. Now, I said, like, early on in the run, I'm not doing a level limit, but I never ended up going over the level that you would normally have as a level limit, which is the level of the highest level Pokemon of that fight. Titans don't really count, but I would still make my level reasonable. I never over level for a Titan either. So I technically did have a level limit. You could just, this is a long explanation, but you can basically just say, I did have a level limit. It's the highest level Pokemon of the boss I was going against. I use Switch because there's no set mode, because honestly, I think there should be set mode. If there was set mode, I would use set mode. Every regular Nuzlocke that I've done, I've used set mode. Completed or not. But this one I did Switch because there is no set. And honestly, if they give me the option and I can't change it, I might as well use it. Only 3 healing items for battle. I don't think I ever used more than 3. I'm not 100% sure. I don't think I've ever used more than 3. And even if it is, I definitely didn't use more than 5, so, in a battle. I have to choose between the first 3 Pokemon I find in any area because commonly you will find multiple Pokemon. Like let's say that you first walk into a route. Sometimes you see groups of Pokemon spawn in. For example, you might see 4 Shinx and a Luxio, or just 2 different groups of Pokemon appear at the same time. Now, instead of arguing with myself over which one I saw first, I'm just going to allow whichever ones I saw first as a group and then choose one, because honestly, most of the time, or at least a decent amount of the time, you'll see multiple Pokemon at about the same time. So I'm allowing the first 3 I can choose between, which made the encounters a little bit easier. So I wouldn't say this is a hard Nuzlocke. I don't really understand how I lost twice, but I mean, even if you thought this was a spoiler, I literally say attempt 2 and attempt 3 in the first second of the video. So you should know that there's a reason that there's multiple attempts. Anyway, that's it for the rules. So now for the storyline. We're going to start from episode 1, move all the way to episode 16. So episodes 1 and 2, I selected Mike the Sprigatito. Mike from Total Drama, I think. I don't know why I chose that, because they're not even correlated. But there isn't much reason to go too far in depth on this run, because it ended prematurely. I was embarrassed by Case, Teyorsa, and swept. And in 2 episodes, which I think both were very short. I think one was 5 minutes, one was like 10 minutes. Attempt 2 was already over. I got swept because I don't really I don't understand why I fought Katie so quickly. My team was not ready for this fight because my strongest Pokemon was my starter, which is weak to Bug, and then the rest of my team sucked. So I had like a what's that little bug? Nimble. I had a Makuhita, but they all fell and died in the second episode. I don't know what I was thinking. But I was like, well, I've only gone 2 episodes out. I can't end it like this. So I guess I gotta just move on to attempt 3. So that's how episode 3 begins. It's called attempt 3. That's also what my character was named, because my first character was named attempt 2. So since I lost and now I'm on attempt 3, I named this guy attempt 3. Now I was like, my main goal for this run was to defeat Katie. So I picked Fei Coco because, number 1, Fei Coco is the best starter for Nuzlocke in Pokemon Violet. Very great matchups into a lot of hard battles, and Skelders is just better than the other 2 starters. I named her, yes, it was a girl, surprisingly. It's hard to get a female starter, but I named her Katie Killer the Furry Coco because her main goal in life is also to just murder Katie's Teddiursa. My first 2 captures are Cropter the Hoppip and Terra the Diglett, and my final Pokemon in the first episode is Desi the Paldean Wooper as I head into Mesagosa. Cropter is used in a couple battles, but isn't a major player. Diglett is never used. I think as soon as I get above 6 Pokemon, it goes into the box. And, Desi is actually a pretty good Pokemon. Like, Paldean Wooper / Clodsire. Pretty useful. Pretty bulky. Early game, it evolves really quickly, so it's very good early game. And decent in the mid game. In attempt 4... episode 4 is named Katie Killer Lives Up to Her Name. I literally didn't record any of the Mesagosa plot because who cares about that? Especially in the Nuzlocke. I'd go down the South Province Area 1 and catch Maku the Makuhita. Again, that's another Makuhita on my team. And marry the Mareep. Why does it say Katie Killer does her skin? Anyway, Katie Killer does her, I think it's supposed to say, like, does her job or something. And sweeps Katie with little trouble and evolves into Crocolore. I catch Diamond the Mankey, which is a very common Pokemon in Paldea, despite how it being one of the most broken Nuzlocke Pokemon you can actually get in the entire game. Of course, if you just evolved into Primate, that'd be pretty not useful, or just average, but now that it has a new evolution named Annihilape, if you get a Mankey in a run, you have a good chance of making it very far. I use her to swiftly defeat the Titan Cloth. I catch Tango the Steenie and Axel and Ripper the Tandem-Mouse. I love Tandem-Mouse. Not that great in a Nuzlocke. Also, if you didn't get it, that's another Total Drama name. Axel and Ripper from Total Drama Reboot. If there's like a good reason for my names, I guess I'll point them out. But Mary isn't special. Maku, Diamond. These are just names I gave them. These aren't based off of anything. And then the episode I also sweep Brassius with Katie Killer, so I guess she isn't only good against bug types. The Sulu can be scary, but if you have Fully Coco / Quaqualore, you're not going to lose the battle because you're going to 2-shot it, and I don't think it 2-shots you. Anyway, the Shadowuda. Episode 5, the Nuzlocke continues. The 5th episode begins with Mary quickly shocking the Bombardier Titan to death. Mary... Oh, I've never used an Ampharos, by the way. I just wanted to let y'all know this. I've never used an Ampharos until 2024, where I used 2. I used 1 in my Nuzlocke. Wait, no. And in 2025, I used Ampharos. So, when my Pokemon teams in 2025 comes out in 2026, I'll talk about that other Ampharos that I'm talking about. But yeah, the first 2 Titans are pretty hard to lose. Actually, the first 3 are pretty hard to lose. Desi evolves as I use her, Diamond, and Maku to defeat Giacomo. The easiest of the what's her name? Team Star. Yeah, he's the easiest by far. If I had to rank them on difficulty, easiest is Giacomo, and then what's that guy's name? The weird guy who speaks like Shakespeare, Atticus, and then I say Ortega, and then Mela, and then Eri. Because Mela, if you fight her too early and you're even slightly under leveled, you can lose before even getting to the Starmobile. You can lose to her Torkoal. Anyway, the team for Iono and Nimona is Kitty Killer, Diamond, Desi, Tango, Axel, and Ripper, and Ponko, who will later replace Mary. Did I mention catching Ponko? I don't think I did. Ponko is a Magnemite who is named off of an Ace Attorney robot, which is random because it's not even a popular character from the series, but whatever. I'm not crazy creative with these names. But yeah, Ponko will later replace Mary because, I like Ampharos. Magnezone is one of the best Pokemon in Nuzlocke in general. It's great in Pokemon Sun. It's amazing in Pokemon Violet. And those are the only 2 games I ever used one in. Nuzlocke, at least. Yeah. Okay, Nimona, it was easy, but Tango struggled to beat the Bellyville, and K Killer loves to hit themselves in confusion. No casualties, though. So, Iono goes down, Nimona goes down with no deaths. But I will mention that Katie Killer likes being unlucky. Flinching, confusion, and freeze are 3 things that Katie Killer will have to go through if she wants to win this Nuzlocke. Because, I don't know why. She just... Look, there's more examples later on. I'm not going to spoil too much. But that's it for episode 5. Episode 6 is called This Might Be the Run. This is when I start gaining confidence. Because I catch a Magikarp who evolves into Gyarados. If you don't know, Gyarados is probably the best Nuzlocke Pokemon. It's found in every game, except for, I think, Unova. In the Unovan games, it evolves at level 20, which is before usually the second gym, or around the second gym. And Gyarados is broken. I'll be talking about another Gyarados and another Nuzlocke later on, but right now, we got to deal with Utopia. Fossil Fuels, the Carcoal is caught, or hashtag Fossil Fuels. I mean, that's a pretty obvious name, right? But that doesn't take Carry Cure's spot because, Colossal's pretty good. But Rock Fire isn't a great typing, and compared to Fire Ghost later on, yes, Goldor's just outdoes Carcoal. Crop evolves into, I don't even know what Crop evolves to. Probably, Skiploom. I don't think it evolves into, what's the final evolution? Jumpluff yet. The Titan Earthworm stands no chance against the killer of all Katies. And Diamond turns into Primeape. Yeah, I told you, the first 3 Titans don't even deserve any recognition. They're just not hard. So, if I had to rank them on, if I had to rank the gyms, I know Star Reveals are the hardest. If I had to choose between what's harder between the bosses and the gyms might be harder. Because, especially, specifically Larry with his, Terra, normal Star Raptor. Because the first 3, Titans are a joke. The Donphan or Iron Tusk or Great Tusk can be kind of hard. And then the Donzo's Tatsugiri duo doesn't really do much either. I'm just being honest. I think the Titans might be easier than the gyms in this game. But let's move on to Mela. Well, not for long, because Utopia kind of just deals with it. I mean, listen, if I didn't have a Magikarp, this battle would have had a whole page just explaining how I defeated it. But the answer was Desi and Utopia. Because Desi's a great early game Pokemon, and Gyarados is maybe the best Nuzlocke Pokemon, as I was talking about earlier. And even against a pretty tough Mela fight, there's not much he can do. Anyway. I catch an Impidimp. I didn't know I caught Bob Goblin this early, but episode 6 I did catch Impidimp. An Impidimp named Bob Goblin based off the cartoon Wally Kazam that I watched when I was younger. Yeah, that was an interesting show. Good show. But yeah, anyway, Tango, Mary, and Ponko all evolve into their final stages and take on Kofu. Kofu's water type, so yeah, that makes sense. Mary narrowly survives and wins with Thunder Punch. Oh yeah, that's another scary part of the gyms. Kofu's Crabominable is actually pretty difficult. So if you don't have a hard-hitting fast Pokemon, which you probably should, but either way. Or if you get hit by a crit, you can definitely lose to this thing. Or lose a Pokemon. You're not going to lose a run to this thing, but... Yeah, this is a pretty good team to fight it. I mean, Matt in his own, Ampharos, Serena is not going to lose to Kofu. Now up to episode 7. Bow down to me. Once again, you can see with each title that my confidence is growing with each episode. I found a shiny fledgling while searching for Pekka berries. I wanted a Pecha berry or two so I could use it just in case Atticus gets a little lucky. But I didn't find one. Instead, it took me actually like 30 minutes because I had to go to a starting area because later areas only have more specialized berries. And I found a shiny fledgling before I found a single Pecha berry. I love shiny fledgling. I already have one in another save file, but I still like it. Probably one of my favorite shinies, and Talonflame is already one of my favorite Pokemon. I named him Penix based off of Michael Penix for the Falcons. This is before the football season even started. This is like after the draft. So, I don't know if he's going to be good, but he was in this last 3 games of the season, so we have some hopes. I don't use these shinies that I catch, and I say these because there's more than one. I didn't write down shiny claws in the rules, but I do allow it. But the thing was, at this point, this fledgling was kind of under-leveled, for 1. For 2, I already have flying type in Jumpluff, and a fire type in Skeleturge. There's just no reason to use him. Penix isn't going to do much for me. That Skeleturge can't. Is really the main reason I didn't train it up. And I guess I can also say I didn't use shiny claws because I don't use the shinies. You know, I do grind it up a little bit to get the Talonflame. I don't use it anyway, so. But yeah. Atticus's Muck brings me a little trouble. I think it hit something hard. I can't remember. But, yeah, I kept switching and I kept getting bodied by Sludge Bombs, but eventually Ponko takes it out. Who did I have in first here? I can't tell, but Desi Utopia. And, of course, the useless Axel and Ripper are also used. I like Axel and Ripper, but without Population Bomb, that duo is nothing crazy. After a long, drawn-out battle, Utopia takes the Starmobile down, and we continue our deathless run. That's it for Episode 7. Episode 8. Gyms are a joke. I think the real problem is because, listen, the first 2 gyms can kill a Pokemon. Tayursa with Fury Cutter, and mainly Sudowoodo, who can take down a Pokemon. And I think there's very specific battles with specific Pokemon that can take you out. But some of these gyms are just not challenging at all. Anyway, after many Rage Fists, Diamond becomes one of the most broken Pokemon in Scarlet and Violet, Annihilate. Another OP Ghost type emerges when Katie Killer evolves into Skeleturge. There's 3 very broken Ghost types in this game. You got Annihilate, which hits insanely hard and it's way too bulky, and it just has an amazing stat spread, is what I'm trying to say. Skeleturge has one of the best type matchups into the games in general. Fire Ghost takes out a lot of major battles. And Goldengo, which is just a broken Pokemon that I'm not even if I did allow it, which I technically just didn't allow it because I was like, I'm not going to get it anyway, so I might as well ban it to make it look a little bit more difficult. But I was never going to use this thing. Goldengo will swept the whole game, alright? And we beat Larry fairly easily. Nimona, his Talonflame can be troubling, but Matt in his own just ate all of its attacks. Nimona is next, and we defeat her as well. Nimona should have been a harder trainer in this game. Like, even Hop has some tough Pokemon to deal with, like a Snorlax. Nimona doesn't have that until, like, her final battle with a Goodra, and even then, if you have a good Ice type, it can't beat it. Like, Nimona should have been harder. Her random battles should have been way tougher than they were. But I catch Yuffie the Glaceon at some point. I don't even record catching it. I think I just mentioned, oh yeah, I caught this Glaceon, by the way. And I don't know why I named it Yuffie. Can't even answer. I really don't know what that means. But I caught it in Glacido Matlin, whatever it's called. Anyway, Bob Goblin evolves in the Grimmsnarl. And then I find my second shiny, Gray the Grivard. Or Gravard. Gravard? Because I think it's Grave. Gravard. Anyway, yeah, another shiny. Listen, I've caught 4 shiny Grivard. Or technically 3. So my first shiny hunt in Pokemon Violet was a shiny Iron Valiant, which I ended up trading to somebody else. But that's not really the point. Before I found this shiny Iron Valiant, I found a shiny Houndstone and 2 shiny Grivards in this other file. And then my second shiny in this Nuzlocke is also a shiny Grivard. I have 4 in total. I mean, if someone comments in this video saying they want a free one, maybe I'll consider it at this point, because I don't need 4. But yeah, Gray is also never used. Kitty Killer hits hard, but her and Bob Goblin rattle. Why did I say but? Because like these are both positive things. Oh no, I'm stupid. Kitty Killer gets hit hard because she's a ghost type, but her and Bob Goblin rattle rhyme as we earn our 6th badge. I mean, as soon as you Terra with Skeleturge, you win, because Torch Song just annihilates Rhyme's entire team, and if you have a Dark type on the other side, you're just good, alright? This isn't a hard battle. Rhyme is maybe the hardest late gym leader, because, I don't know, because that girl is also very easy. The Psychic type gym leader is also not a challenge at all. Anyway, that's why gyms are a joke. Episode 9, we're nearing the final stretch, but Grusha is getting very lucky. As you can see in that picture, something not good is happening. Utopia packs up the Quaking Earth Titan. Another Titan that I finish in 1 sentence because they're just not hard. I catch a Missile, the Dash Button. This one's also an Ace Attorney reference. The Ace Attorney creator named their dog Missile and also named the dog in the game Missile to reference their dog. So I named my Dash Button Missile because I didn't name Grivard. That's another dog, by the way. I didn't catch a Mabostiff in this game. I could have had the whole trio, but none of the dog Pokemon are that good, so The Mona isn't challenging, but using Yuffie against Meowscarada was a mistake. I did not think that it would do that much damage with Flower Trick against Glaceon. I mean, I ended up winning, but it was a little bit more scary than I thought. I have a close call against a gym leaders in DD because I'm an idiot. Like, the only way you can understand what happened in that fight is if you actually go to the video, episode 9, and watch it. Because the fact, because I was so scared, I don't know what I was doing. I was using a move with Grimmsnarl instead of just killing it. Because it was Calm Minding, but I'm a physical attacker. At any point, I could have one-shot this in DD and stopped it from setting up Calm Minds. But I don't remember what I was doing. I don't remember what move I was using. Maybe like a stat-lowering move to combat it. I can't remember. But the fact was that I could have killed this thing at any point. But instead, it used 1 Calm Mind and I started playing extra safe. Like, I'm risking a sweep just so I don't lose my Grimmsnarl. Just hit it with whatever move I had. It was such a bad play. It's probably the worst play of this entire Nuzlocke. Somehow it doesn't cause a death. Somehow I finally lock it and kill it. And then not Grusha. Look, I literally said, but the Psychic Gym because I can't remember her name. But, the Psychic type gym leader is also very easy. I think her only even semi-dangerous Pokemon is a Gardevoir, but that goes down pretty easily. I catch Justice the Espeon, which, by the way, also, if you don't allow branched evolutions in your Nuzlocke, you're just weird, because they're not even the same Pokemon. Especially with Eevee. I'm allowing, in any of my Nuzlockes, which I didn't put this in the rules because it's not really important, but I'm always going to allow myself to catch 2 of a Pokemon if they have branched evolutions. If I find 2 Wurmple, well, no, not Wurmple, that's a bad example, because it can evolve, and you can't control what it evolves into. I will catch 2 Poliwags if I have the ability to get a Poliwrath and a Politoed. Same thing for Eevee. Even though I don't catch specifically an Eevee here, I catch an Espeon and a Glaceon because they're both completely different Pokemon. I think Dupe's Claws should have some limits. So, I didn't even write Dupe's Claws in the rules because I think that's kind of, even though it's actually a added rule, it's pretty much what everyone uses at this point. Anyway. I catch Justice. Grusha literally gets 2 freezes in a row with Blizzard. And a flinch of Icicle Crash. First, if he freezes Katie Killer, then I'm like, okay, whatever. I'll bring in Ponko and kill. Okay, it froze Ponko too. I heal the freeze. It flinches with Icicle Crash with, I think, Beartic. Like, dude, it wasn't hard because I had no risk of dying. But he extended the battle by like 5 turns just by getting lucky. I do win easily, though, luckily, because his Altaria Ace is actually very bad. Like, I don't know why he thought this was a good idea. I guess because Altaria is 4 times weak to Ice, and you're turning into Ice, but Ice still has itself as its only resistance. So if you're using Ice anything else, or like a Weavile, it doesn't matter. Actually, it probably has Moonblast, but what I'm saying is, Ice is a bad type to Terra into anyway, so whatever. But yeah, after a very excruciating fight, Utopia edges out Altaria for the win. I don't know why I used Utopia, but whatever. Gyarados is just broken. Episode 10, a tragedy of huge proportions in the Nuzlocke. My team at this point is Ponko, the Magnet Zone, Katie Killer, the Skeleturge, Yuffie, the Glaceon, Utopia, the Gyarados, Justice, the Espeon, and I don't know why Fossil Fuse is on the team, but he is, the Colossal. I face off against Ortega, who can't survive Ponko and Yuffie's onslaught. There's a reason I put him below Mela, because, like, if you have even a decent counter or two to Fairy types, you're not losing to him. You can have a counter to Airy and still lose. So that's why I have Ortega pretty low on my list of hardest. He might even be easier than Atticus, I'm going to be honest. But I cast Dratbat the Dratini, which is insanely lucky to have one of your first three, because I think one of the first thing I found was also like a Slowpoke, which is trash. For me, at least. I have a Gyarados, so I don't need it. But yeah, catching Dratini is pretty big. Ponko and Bob Goblin work together to defeat the False Dragon Titan, even though Arvin didn't help at all. Another one-sentence battle against the Titans, because all 5 of them suck. The one I can even kind of understand is you being under level for Great Tusk / Iron Tusks. All the other ones you should be beating in 2 to 3 turns. Dratbat becomes a Dragonite, and Tusks, the Fracture evolves as well, because that's another one I didn't even mention catching much in the video, so I had to skim through and be like, oh, when did I talk about Fracture? Because I barely did, but Tusks is from Maryland's, one of his, what's it called, Mystery Dungeon runs. He has a Axew friend named Tusks. That was very fun. Or maybe his main Pokemon was Tusks. I can't remember, but it was an Axew, alright? But that's not really what this episode was about. Episode 10 continued. I catch Robin the Bisharp, but obviously I can't use her for the battle against Airy. Another pretty good Pokemon. Kingambit is really nice. If it was fast, it probably would be broken. It would just be Annihilate. But would you take Ghost Fighting or Steel Dark? It's just up to preference, I guess. For Airy, I bring along Katie Killer, Justice, Missile, Utopia, Bob Goblin, and Draprat. Draprat immediately takes down Toxicroak, but when I bring in Missile against Annihilate, I make the actual worst play in the Nuzlocke. After bringing the monkey down below, I use Crunch instead of Play Rough so I don't miss. Now let me tell you why this is a stupid decision. Annihilate, as I know because I have one, is very bulky. So if you're not hitting with a super effective move, it's likely going to tank it. I hit it with one Play Rough. It does about 70%. Crunch would do 80 base power, right? Play Rough's 90, alright? So it would do 180. So I believe that, even mathematically... Oh yeah, and stab, so actually it would do like 1.5 times 1.5, so it would be like... Or 1.5 times, and then times 2. So it would do like over 200 something base damage. Like I'm only just estimating, say like 220. Now that's like almost triple Crunch. So when I do 70% with Play Rough, it should be obvious that Crunch isn't going to kill it. If Crunch would kill it, Play Rough would just one-shot the Annihilate anyway. But I use Crunch in fear of the 5% chance of Play Rough missing, even though I'm pretty sure Crunch would not have killed without a crit. So while trying to play safe, I end up playing worse. I end up making a worse call. Alright? It eats the Crunch, obviously. Mathematically, it makes sense. It should be obvious that it would not die to this Crunch. And of course, since I've hit it 2 times, now Rage Fist has like 150 base power. And yeah, it kills it. Obviously, it kills Missile. The first death is a player mistake. A very bad one. A very obvious one that no other Nuzlocker with any brains would do. Name any Nuzlocker you watch. They would not use Crunch in this scenario, but I did. I'm still technically a rookie. I've only beat a few, but still, that's a really bad play. And I realized that as soon as I made the move, I'm like, wait, why did I use Crunch? Even if it misses, like, at least Rage Fist won't kill, and I can just go for another one. But I not only let it survive, but I also powered up his next Rage Fist. The worst play of the lock, by far. Absolute stupidity. But, anyway, I ended up killing the Annihilate after that immediately, and then, Passimian stands no chance. But, Utopia's in against Starmobile. The scariest part of her battle. Do I have a water bottle in here, man? Like, I've been talking for a while. I think I do. I need a water break. I hit it with Waterfall. That doesn't do much damage. I don't think anyone's surprised about that. Alright, and Shift Gears, which raises attack and speed, I believe. And then it also boosts his defense with stamina. When I see, this is a bad turn, because at least if it attacks after I hit with Waterfall, even though it has a boosted defense, it's still not doing that much damage. But now, it raises its attack and doubles its speed. And with the stamina boost, it gets 4 stat boosts in one turn. So that's not great. So, yeah, I'm like, alright, okay, why does it say Ballgoin? Can y'all guess who Ballgoin is? It's Bob Goblin. I switched into Bob Goblin because I'm thinking, dude, if I switch right into Justice, I need to kill this thing because it has stamina, I can't kill a physical attacker. If I bring bring Justice right in, it's going to die in 2 turns because this thing just shift geared. It's going to hit me, either Justice Survivor, it doesn't matter. And it outspeeds and kills me next turn. So I'm like, I had to get a clean switch off. I have to sack one of you guys, and you're not surviving 2 attacks. So someone's gonna die. I'm like, this really sucks. I'm losing 2 fairy types, but I have the least attachment to Bob Goblin. I'm sorry, buddy. He dies. I get the clean switch into Justice. Terror boosted Psychic almost kills it, but it survives. And uses Shift Gear. Now it's like plus 2 or 3 attack? Because I think if I Shift Gear the turn I switched into Bob Goblin, which meant it just one-shot me the next turn and outspeed me. If this thing goes for an attacking move and kills Justice in 1 hit, I think I lose. But it uses Shift Gear again, because the AI is stupid. Because I had no choice. I couldn't switch and risk it shift gearing again, because that ends the battle. I had to attack with Apollo, hope it does something stupid, and it did. So it just uses shift gear, and I use Psychic again and win. Sadly, I lose 2 Pokemon in the area, because I guess I'm cursed by her? I mean, attempt 1, I get swept by her. Attempt 2, I don't even make it to her. Attempt 3, I lose my first 2 Pokemon to her. But hey, that's pretty good still. Even though I lost 2 Fairy types, which is like the best type in the game. Episode 11. Attempt 3 versus the Elite Four, Part 1. In preparation for the final act of the game, I evolve Robin into King Gambit. The Elite Four begins against Rika. For her, I use Tusks, the Haxorus, Dratbrat, the Dragonite, Utopia, the Gyarados, Yuffie, the Glaceon, Diamond, the Annihilate, and Justice, the Espeon. Boy, Justice is a little bit clutch, if you didn't notice. Rika doesn't stand a chance. There's no reason to go over this battle. It wasn't challenging. Rika was meant to be the easiest Elite Four member. I take out Yuffie and Tusks for Justice and Robin. Wait, what? Oh, I take out Yuffie, Tusks, and Justice for Robin, Katie Killer, and Fossil Fuels for my battle against Poppy. Her Magnezone takes chunks of HP out of half my team, but no deaths. Magnezone's really good. Either if you're using it or the opponent is. Luckily, I have a great team at this point, so it doesn't really matter. For Larry, Ponko and Yuffie replace Diamond and Robin. After some tough rounds against this Staraptor and Altaria, he brings in his Flamigo. I bring in Utopia to use Intimidate, but Brave Bird nearly kills him, and Ice Fang doesn't finish it even with Recoil. Yeah, I didn't expect this Flamingo to be my toughest challenge of the Elite Four, but here we are. I knew someone was going to die because no one could take 2 Brave Birds, or no one could survive. First of all, not much of my team could survive a Brave Bird on a switch-in. And even if they did, most of them either wouldn't outspeed, Well, I think most of them wouldn't outspeed or take a close combat. So no matter who I was switching in, I thought about it for a while. I think I actually, like, in real time, I thought about the move for over 5 minutes. And I was like, is there any way I can bring in someone and survive? Because it will Brave Bird this turn. And then, even if it did Brave Bird, and then it would just close combat, outspeed, kill, whatever else. I think it may because, like, I was trying to get through this Deathless, alright? I could have healed someone else, but then Gyarados dies. Or I could have switched and healed someone else, but then that Pokemon I sent didn't dies. I don't have a fast team in this battle, as you can see. I took out Diamond, who's a very fast Pokemon. So I'm like, okay, Fossil Fuels, maybe you somehow survive. I heal Utopia after switching in Fossil Fuels. The Flamigo murders Fossil Fuels, and I bring in Utopia at the end of the battle. For the championship match against Gita, I use Robin, Diamond, Katie Killer, Ponko, Utopia, and Drap Rat. Katie Killer, I think, flinches 2 times? Or 3 times? It was a lot. It was fighting a Go-Go. I don't remember what move the Go-Go was using, but it either got paralyzed or flinched like an insane amount of times in a row. It was bad. I could have actually lost my Skelders to a Go-Go there, but luckily it doesn't happen. Katie Killer's really annoying me at this point, though, but whatever. 1 death in the Elite Four, I guess, isn't terrible, even though it should be 0. It's not hard. Episode 13, Arvin and Bostiv used Crunch. I catch a Messerum, the Toad's Cruel, in that cool autumn place. That's one of my favorite places to catch Pokemon. You can catch a Lucario there. I caught a shiny Fortress there in my other file, which is a really cool shiny. Yeah, no special name for Toad's Crew. I don't know what this name is. But my team for Arvin is Diamond, Robin, Utopia, Katie Killer, Drag Rat, and Yuffie. Arvin is completely countered, and the boss I originally feared was heavily countered by Intimidate, allowing Diamond to take a Crunch, then one shot with Terra close combat. First of all, Annihilate is still broken. Second of all, I was pretty scared because I think in my regular playthrough this, my Bostif hit insanely hard with Crunch. But Intimidate is broken. That's it. We beat Arvin. Episode 14. This is why type coverage is so important. Before taking on Penny, I sub out Drabrat and Yuffie from Messerum and Justice for my final battle against Clivel, whatever you want to... That sounds like a shipping name. Whatever you want to call him. In no time, he goes down, and Penny was next. I bring in Ponko for Justice, and I also destroy Penny. Because the problem is, first of all, I don't know why the game just assumes that all your Pokemon are physical attackers. Because no matter what, these Pokemon use Baby Doll Eyes turn 1, unless I see a kill, I think. But, like, I'm using Pokemon like Skelders. Skelders swept, like, the last of her 3 Pokemon. So I'm just confused. Why is Baby Doll Eyes their first move, like, every time? And then they have no coverage. They maybe have 1 or 0 coverage moves. So this battle is like the easiest battle in the end game. It's easier than all the Elite Four battles. It's easier than Clavel, easier than Gita. You can't lose any Pokemon to Penny. On to episode 15. The final battle versus Nemona. The team for Nemona is Katie Killer, Messerum, Ponko, Utopia, Diamond, and Yuffie. I was pre-prepared for this fight, and long story short, it wasn't as hard as it could have been. Once again, this game isn't that hard. I made it hard because in my first battle, my first attempt, I lost to the hardest battle in the entire game. And my second attempt, I picked Sprigatito and used it against a Bug-type gym. Alright? That's why I lost the first 2 attempts. Anyway. To end the video, I enter in Area 0, and this is how you know we're nearing the finale. Episode 16. The end of my Pokemon Violet Nuzlocke. To begin the finale, I switch out Justice for Utopia in an Iron Shreds battle in Area 0. I know Utopia can destroy easily. It's a Steel Ground type. I've seen the Lycanroc that Nemona uses destroy one earlier. Or destroy a, what's it called? Glamora earlier with Drill Run? So I'm like, whatever. It doesn't matter what happens here. I know Utopia can destroy easily, as I said before. Since, I'm pretty sure Espeon would get destroyed by this thing using like a Stab Earthquake. I'm like, it probably going for something like that. Or even a Steel move, which Utopia also resists. Along with Intimidate, I don't believe there's any chance I could die here. Instead, Iron Treads goes for Wild Charge into what the AI should have thought was my Espeon and crits. Utopia goes down right before the final fight. This is absolutely insane. First of all, this thing should have had at least 2 super effective moves against the Lycanroc, since the Lycanroc is a rock type. So those should be automatic kills, therefore the CPU should go for them. And even if it sees my Espeon, it goes for my Espeon for some reason, it shouldn't see a kill with Wild Charge, because the CPU doesn't calculate crits before they attack. So it should have used its strongest move, which is whatever ground or steel type move it has, but instead, it seemingly predicts me to bring in my Gyarados, uses Wild Charge, and maybe Gyarados somehow survives with Intimidate, but it crits just to seal the deal. 4th death against a random wild Pokemon. Let's continue. I now have to add a different team member for Turo, and be his Iron Valiant without Intimidate. After an Iron Jugglist uses Crunch on Arbors and Bostiff in a later battle, I realized that the AI for the endgame duel battles like to use completely random moves. Even wild Pokemon, will go for kills if they see them. But for some reason, in the endgame, these, future Pokemon, these Paradox Pokemon, apparently use random moves. I haven't proven it, I guess, but Wilds will use a Dark type move against a Dark type later, and then use a Wild Charge against an Espeon when it should see 2 kills on the Lycanroc, unless the moves are just completely random for these specific group of battles. It could be a mistake. It could be the Pokemon games are just like, whatever, they're Paradox, they should be random. It's stupid either way, because I should not have my Gyarados be dead here. It should die in any scenario. But I hate it, because even if you say, well, even if you brought it in, Wild Charge would have killed you, I would have outsped the Iron Treads and one-shot it with Waterfall. She already hit a drill once, so it was low HP. It was not going to survive a second turn, so the only way that Gyarados dies here is for a Wild Charge, and thanks to Intimidate, possibly with a critical hit. Just insanely unlucky. Episode 16 continued. I know I need my Espeon for Iron Valiant. I also bring Ponko, Dratbrat, Masarum, Diamond, and of course Katie Killer. Justice takes out his Iron Moth in 2 turns, but I think he got hit decently hard. But Dratbrat does the same to Iron Jugulus after using a Citrus Berry. Ponko one-shots Iron Bundle, and we're halfway there. Although it can be challenging, but Ponko just walls it, so even with low special defense, you're just not going to lose your Magnet Zone to this Iron Bundle. Iron Thorns falls to Diamond, and Masarum takes a hard Drain Punch, but hits Spore, which is enough to beat Iron Hands. Yeah, of course, originally Masarum was not going to be used against Iron Hands, but at the moment, I was like, this is a guaranteed kill. I mean, there's other kills that are likely, but with Spore, I'm definitely going to kill this, this Iron Hands in time. Finally is his Iron Valiant, the Pokemon that I planned to take out with Intimidate, just switching, between, I think it has an electric type move, so I think I was going to switch between, Ponko and Gyarados, and keep hitting it with Intimidate until it was useless, and then kill it with Justice. Now, I have to do that strategy without the Intimidate. So my only other way that lowers attack effectively is Justice himself. So I bring him in with a Focus Sash so that no matter what, he survives 1 turn. I knew that Justice might potentially have to die here. I use Charm after I use the Spirit Break, and then I switch to Katie Killer. I use Yawn and despite Valiant doing big damage, the battle is already over. One final beautiful turret song seals the deal. Now you might be thinking, how would you lose this? How would you lose a Pokemon here? I'm pretty sure that if I bring in Justice and it crits and then does a big damage? Oh, no, what was I thinking here? How did I launch Justice in this scenario? Because I used Charm first turn, but it already hits me for Spirit Break. Even if it crit, I would have survived to Focus Sash. Yeah, I think it'd be pretty hard to lose a Pokemon in this battle with even without Gyarados. It didn't ruin my plans that much, but I just didn't want... I didn't get my original plan. K-Killer was even supposed to come in. I think the original plan was switch between Ponko and keep using Intimidates with Utopia and then just eat the attacks and kill it with Psychics. But instead, I ended up using K-Killer, which is nice because she is the first one I had. So I guess it's more symbolic this way, but yeah. The run is over. I win. Because, of course, the Miraidon battle doesn't count. So, it was fun. It wasn't that hard, but had some moments. I think the best moments were my battle against the Indeedee. My big mistake against Airy and Utopia's death. Because even though those sucked, they were the most exciting moments. Finally, we have the Pokemon. My 4 deaths. Missile the Doximon did... I think that was like one of Missile's only battles. I grinded it up, of course, but that was like one of his only trainer battles. It is my bad, man. Doximon shouldn't have died here. Play Rough had... There's only a 5% chance I would have lost it here. If I used Play Rough, or it was a 100% chance, pretty much. Or, like, whatever the crit chance is that I would have killed it with Crunch. Like, I just can't believe I made such a terrible move. But let's move on to more uncontrollable deaths. Bob Goblin, the Grimmsnarl, died to the Starmobile in a sacrifice to let Justice clean it up. It was necessary. It had to happen. I had to switch somebody in it. I didn't see Grimmsnarl being useful in the future. Or even if I did, I liked the other Pokemon more. Once again, he didn't have a ton of battles, but he was used in the Rhyme battle as well, so he did get a victory. He did pick up a dub. So yeah, I like Grimmsnarl. Fossil Fuse, the Colossal. Caught early on as well, but since E-Killer was just better than it was usually just in the party not doing anything. It wasn't some wins, though. He died to Lays Flamigo. Another sacrifice. Now, you gotta learn when you have to sacrifice a Pokemon. Both Grimmsnarl and Colossal were both Pokemon that I liked, but at the end of the day, they weren't as useful as my other team members, so I decided they had to go. But this death, Utopia the Gyarados from level 9 to level 65. The worst death of the run, and he dies to a wild Paradox Pokemon. I mean, I've already talked about why it was just insanely dumb and annoying, but that doesn't mean that I still don't want to yap about it more. Of course, I'm going to stop. I'm going to let it slide, because it's been like almost a year. Well, it's been over a year. No, it hasn't. It hasn't. It's still been like just less than a year since this run happened. I'm still mad about it. But, you know, maybe my next Gyarados will have a better chance. These are Pokemon that, while they didn't die, they also weren't in the final battle, but I did use them for multiple bosses. Robin the King Gambit, I think I used her a couple times in the Elite Four and against Gita, notably. She gets an 8 out of 10. She did her job well. King Gambit's pretty good. Tusk the Haskers gets a 7 out of 10 because I only used it like once or twice because Dratbrat is just better. Dragonite is better than Haxorus. It has a bonus flying typing, while Haxorus is pure dragon. It has a better moveset, and it has a better base stat total. But Tusk didn't, like, suck in any battles. Yuffie the Glaceon. Pure Ice isn't great, but it made me love Glaceon more. It's not my favorite. I don't know what my least favorite evolution is. It might be Vaporeon. I've never cared for Vaporeon. But, anyway. I think maybe Simplify might be a little low. I mean, I know it struggled against Clavel's Meowscarada, but really, it still got the dub. I mean, Glaceon was pretty good. For a pure ice type of Pokemon, I mean, if you're going to be pure ice, at least have good base stats, and Glaceon definitely has that. Tangle the Serena gets a 6.5 out of 10. I mean, pure grass isn't good either. I mean, it was in battles. I think the only big dub it had was against Kofu. So, I mean, good for it, I guess. I mean, I didn't use the Serena much. Pure grass is actually worse than pure ice, in my opinion, because when am I actually going to be using pure grass? Pure ice is like one of the few types that's good against dragon, and since 2 of my fairy types died, I needed this ice type. I didn't use Tango since like it hit level 30 something. Desi the Clawstar gets an 8 out of 10. It's a great early game mon, and it was vital for Mela. The reason it isn't higher is because I stopped using it midway through the game. But unlike Serena, it was actually amazing early game, which makes it pretty high ranking anyway. Mary the Ampharos gets a 7.5 out of 10 because Yeah, she got replaced by Ponko, but she did get that dub against Kofu and that dub against the Titan Bombardier. And finally, Axel and Ripper the Mouse Hook gets a 6 out of 10 because, I mean, it's just not good when it doesn't have Population Bomb with Skill Link. The dice. So yeah, this thing wasn't very useful. I only used it because I like Mouse Hook. But the Dream Team, the team that got the W for me. I love this team. They did the job. They got the job done. Katie Killer the Skeletorge. 9.5 out of 10. Would have been 10 out of 10 if she didn't flinch so much. She is so close to being perfect because she did her job. She killed Katie's entire team. And 2, she took down Turo. But she had 3 different moments in battles where she literally either kept hitting herself in confusion, froze, flinched, or was paralyzed. That's like 4 different things. So I think that took that 0.5 away from being a 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10 means you really had no flaws. K Killer had a very small flaw. Now, Ponko the Magnezone gets a 9 out of 10. Like, she, I think, was really, really good. I mean, Magnezone is an amazing Pokemon. If I ever see a Magnemite, I'm never going to think, oh, that Pokemon that you see in every region. I'm going to think, evolves into one of the best Pokemon in Nuzlocke history. Speaking of great Pokemon, we got Diamond the Annihilate, 9 out of 10. Also amazing. Who let me build this God Squad? Maybe the rules did, since I got to see 3 Pokemon. I think Mankyu's still in the first ones I saw anyway. The reason I didn't get 10 out of 10 was because I actually didn't use it as much as I thought I would. Like, I used Diamond a decent amount, but it wasn't like the MVP for the team. It didn't feel like the MVP for the team. I'm just going to be honest. Drat Brat gets 8.5 out of 10. Annoying to catch, impossible to kill. Because even though it took me like 10 minutes to catch this stupid Dratini, it became a great member of the squad. Masarum the Toadscrew, 7.5 out of 10. Newest member, but didn't disappoint. I mean, Masarum did her job at the end. She was just in the Arvin battle and the Turo battle, but that's enough for me. Like, you do good in 2 battles, you get a good rating. And finally, Justice. Looking back on it, Justice is a little low. Took down Aerie, was a big part in taking down Turo. But the reason he's only 8 out of 10, which only isn't bad. Like, 7 is about average for my Pokemon. So if you're above a 7, you're great. But, like, I guess it's just because Espeon doesn't have much switching. Like, I know I gave it a focus sash, but you can't really switch into Espeon against a lot of Pokemon that are physical attackers. You really, like, that's why I had to sacrifice the thing to bring in Espeon. Because not only was the Stormville shift gearing, but there was a way that Espeon was surviving, which caused me to have to sacrifice a Pokemon. But hey, Espeon was one of the clutcher mons, so even though it was kind of fragile, as much a part of the team as everyone else. I enjoyed this a lot, and I have another vid like this soon, because, just so you know, I may have completed another Nuzlocke just a month ago. But make sure to watch this. If this isn't satisfying enough for you, watch the full playlist. A lot of emotions for that one. But yeah, that's it for today. I don't know how long this is, but I think it's going to be pretty long. I hope you guys enjoyed. See you guys next time for the mock draft. Adios.